Thanks, Patrick. Thanks for the introduction there. As Patrick says, Andy from PingCo. What do PingCo do? Well, we do things differently. So I'll start by apologising to the AV team for last-minute change. This wasn't meant to be presented like this. Well, it was as far as I'm concerned. No one told those guys. So stellar effort again, boys. Thank you for sorting it out for me. What do we do differently? Well, we work with operators to enable automation services, to streamline go-to-market, OSS, BSS integration, really maximizing efficiency, maximizing ARPU for their base. How do we do that? Well, we use a platform called TCAP. That's what I own. I've managed that for the last year and a half for Dan. It stands for Telco Calling Automation Platform. And I'm here today to talk a little bit about how we tie that into the GTM strategy and the customer lifecycle. Now, before I go into too much detail on the lifecycle, there's a couple of points I really want to call out. To us, it's definitely not a linear event. It's not, I start with the customer, I finish with the customer. It always needs to be cyclical, going round and round and round, constant, continuous improvement. Now, add to that as well, though, that you're never alone in that journey. There's market disruptors, there's competitors, there's pitfalls waiting around every corner, acquisitions and mergers, new technologies, whatever it may be. We've all got to be on top of this, ready to go. So this diagram really just talks at a very high level. I'm not going to give answers on how amazing TCAP is to every single one of these. We've got a booth down there. We've got a small army with us today. They're good. They can tell you as much as I can. But I do want to highlight some of these points as discussion points, and I think it will resonate well with a lot of people in the room. And while there's no real start to the journey here, I'm going to pick a starting point, and it'll be around awareness, bang in the middle. So we can help with consultancy with your sales teams, your marketing teams, your support teams. How do you bring a product to market? If you're working with an enablement partner, how do I maximize the benefit of that? How do my customers manage to drive awareness of my solution? How do they get their hands on it? And as we go around the corner here to consideration, once we've told them about it, how do they get their hands on it? What we almost hate as a business, and I don't like using that word, but we're almost that passionate about it, is someone comes along to your website, they bash their details in, and nothing happens. They go away, they wait for a phone call, they wait for the opportunity to be qualified. What we want is people having access to the tools there and then. You sign up, you get it, and it's just simple enough to start consuming there and then on the spot. And then your sales team come over the top of it. They're engaging, they have information, your customer's hot. They're not waiting to be warmed up. So customers found you, they've got it, they like it. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are, there are barriers to change. Some people just don't want to move. I've done migrations in the past, Skype to Teams, before that, WebEx to Skype, things like that, and some people just don't like change. How do we minimize those barriers? Well, it's all about service continuity for us. How do we ensure that if I'm moving number A from platform X to platform Y, what does that look like? How do I turn that number on quickly for the new operator, our partners, without truly impacting the customer from a negative perspective? So we talk about that from a conversion and a migration perspective. And then, once all that's sold and you've got the customer on board, activation starts. And it's easy to think this is where an onboarding journey would start. It's not. The onboarding is all throughout this process. So when we talk about activation, we also want to talk about not just activating our partners, the operator, and how they can resell the services, not just how they can route numbers to platforms, but how can their partners add further value? How can they do things like manage a user community, build a service? So we talk a lot about the simple, quote unquote, simple enablement platforms like Operator Connect, but there's still platforms like Direct Routing out there, which are inherently more complex to deploy. Okay, so what if we said we can do that with the click of a button and we can make it as simple as OC? That's all part of this platform. And then on top of that, user management. Okay, we don't just want to talk about I'm pointing a number here and then you're in charge of that end of it. We're at the end of it. We really want to say we can do all of this. By we can do all of this, you can do all of this, your partners can do all of this, your customers can do all of this. And we extend, extend, extend. So as we come around the top there, looking at adding further value. Those of you who had the misfortune to see me on stage last at Cavell would have seen me talk about Service Hub. I'll talk about it again today, by the way. Adding value to us, numbers, telephony, dial tone, in this industry now, it's almost table stakes. You've got to have a bit more. What are the other services your customers are demanding? Okay, if you're delivering dial tone into Teams, what's happening with call recording? What's happening with business intelligence? Contact center, SMS platforms. And it's not just Teams. Think of the extended ecosystem there as well. We want to ensure that our partners are able to maximize their ARPU, have accessibility to all these technologies, and be a one-stop shop using, and count the buzzwords on this guy, one-stop shop using a single pane of glass to manage that entire infrastructure. So now we've got them, it's all about retention. Retention is easy to consider, okay? I sell them lots, I do a good job, fantastic, they're going to stay forever. Not always the case, but as long as you can remain competitive, as long as you can remain resilient, and as long as you can remain relevant, then you stand a very good chance. But I said at the top of the call, there's always pitfalls. And if that chain breaks, that's potentially endangers your business. That's your customer leaving. So how do we protect against that? Well, again, it's very similar to the conversion story earlier. We talk about migrations. How quickly can you pivot? Are you single-threaded in your strategy, or can I do multiple platform deliveries through a single platform as well? And with us, absolutely you can. So that customer comes along and says, I've just been acquired, and I need to move everything from platform X to platform Y. Oh, great, we can do that. Can we have a conversation about taking it all? Or if it's with new technologies on the scene, that's where we thrive. We want to be bleeding edge. We want to be dealing with all the latest platforms, new technologies. That's really where we love to be. And then finally, we'll come around to growth. And you'll see a slide a bit later on. How well do we truly know our customers? We've sold to them. How do we continue to grow? And we're back to the beginning. I have something new to sell to you. How can I make sure you know how to get it and build from there? So I'm conscious of time. I can talk all day, and I'm trying not to. I'm only going to talk to the 3 green elements in this box today. Really, what can we achieve there? So I'm going to start with activation. And activation is pretty broad for us. Okay, we can talk about this in its most simplistic terms of how we enable an operator. If we look at Operator Connect, there are still some operators out there that have done next to no integration. When they turn up customers, they log into OCP and they manually upload numbers there. And it's not the go-to-market Microsoft envisaged when Operator Connect was conceived. So we've developed a lighter entry-level version of TCAP. We've imaginally titled TCAP Essentials, and it allows us to do exactly that. Allow the operator to easily recognize what OC should have been for them, and then step up through the other services of TCAP. So that's if I need a trial engine, I need user management, I need billing capabilities, we can step up all the way through that. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we have what we'd almost classify at this point in our journey as the gold standard of activation. And it's about TPM. And anyone who's spoken with Dan or Ian has probably had the conversation about where TPM stands in the market today, and not necessarily what's holding it back, but some of the obstacles around it. And it's not a product thing, it's not an engineering thing. In our belief, it's a go-to-market thing. It's how easily can TPM be consumed. I don't know if anyone in the room has tried to buy it from any providers. We've done a bit of secret shopping, and it wasn't the easiest of scenarios. What we believe, and what I will show to you today, is this can be as simple as deploying Operator Connect. It can be as simple as any of the platforms and turning up there and then. Most importantly, empowering the customer to do it themselves. I'll go refer back to the top end of the bell curve we had earlier. Service Hub, adding value, increasing and maximizing ARPU across your base. Service Hub, again, I'm going to use the word twice in the same. I hate it when people refer to it as a marketplace. Right? I refer to it much more than a marketplace. And the reason behind that is we see it as a community. Okay? So Service Hub is not simply your logo here, right? And we'll put it in there and someone can find it and you'll click a link and someone will get an email and someone will eventually reply to them one day. It's about adopting the automation principles of TCAP. I want to click that, I want that there and then, I can have it, I can use it, and then sales can come over the top and do their thing. But We're already expanding here today. I'll show you a quick demonstration of our launch partner, Tollring. I'm not going to go through all their functionality. I'm going to let them do that. They've got a stand right next to us as well. But the most impressive thing I love about the work we've done specifically with Tollring and the work we will do with every Service Hub partner, we don't have to do much. Right? We help them with the design. What should that interaction point look like with your customers when they want your service? And then they build everything themselves. And that can extend way past the vendor community and into the operators market as well. Really, anything you need to resell, you can build into the platform. And as long as it adheres to the same principles, and we're not just sending leads and triggering emails, etc., we'll put it in there. Easy done. And then finally, last slide. I spoke earlier about understanding customers, okay, and that really applies to past, present, and future state with them, okay? So what does the actual penetration look like versus the potential? Okay, what other services is that customer consuming, again, and how usage patterns deviate for them regionally, horizontally, vertically? And think of this then as almost a sword and shield approach. What's the shield, first of all? Well, the shield is, I have this customer, they've been with me for years, and I've noticed usage is dropping off. Why is usage dropping off? What departments is it dropping off on? I've noticed other technologies have been introduced to that. I've not been told it. We can see it from the visibility the customer provides to us. So we can provide that service, reflect it upon to you. And at the same time, you have the sword strategy of that. So yes, one, you can counter, you can riposte for the threat, but you can also look at what usage looks like, not just in that customer, but more of a global scale. If you're extending into a new market, how do you know what a French pharmaceutical company's utilization looks like versus an Argentinian's manufacturer? Again, an example I use all the time. Ultimately, if you're expanding into that market, you may not. So we have visibility of that. Confidential visibility, we're not going to give you customer information, but we can provide you data that will help you model that. And when we look at profitability and margin analysis, we'll be far more accurate from the beginning. And that's really insights. And again, there's a lot more insights can do. I've actually got a really good example, but there's not going to be time to show that today. If anyone wants to swing by our stand later, I'll be happy to show it. But it is around about this time where I normally head out the door there, and Dan takes over and does a demo. But I've got that dubious honor today. As I said, we do things a little bit differently. So this could be a harsh lesson, and be careful what you wish for. But I'm going to attempt to do a demo of both our TPM activation and the work we've done with Tollring. So I'm going to bring up TCAP to begin with. I'm going to play the part of a customer in here. And in true Blue Peter fashion, and I'll explain that reference to my Australian colleagues later, here's one I made earlier, almost. This customer already exists. They've added OC, they've added TPM. But what does TPM activation truly look like? So I'm going to go into our number management section here, and I want to associate an account. Think of me, I could be an IT admin at any given organization, and I own the mobile contract. I want to go in, and I want to add that contract, that account, associate it with my TCAP tenant. So quite simply, I can come in here. I can go 7. Put my mobile number in there. I'm going to make sure it's right. 791264748. And I'm going to associate it. Now, what this is doing is a few different things. Okay. One, it's checking. Perfect. That's it. 866736. I'm just going to put that in wrong. 866736. It's checking a few things. It's one, does that mobile account even exist against the operator we have it registered for? 2, is it viable for TPM? 3, do I own that account? That was the OTP challenge you saw there. So no one can come in and just go around and put everything in there and start enabling everyone's numbers left, right, and center. Now, I've associated the account there. I'm just going to put in my number so we can add it in once more. 7, 7, 8, and I'm going to verify that and associate. So what we've done now, we've added an account, top-level account, and I now have access to all the numbers that belong to that account. I'm not showing them because as far as we're concerned, I'm not necessarily an admin. I shouldn't have visibility of every one of my organization's mobile numbers just because I own one mobile number. There is a concept of mobile admins that we can introduce for that as well, but that's not as part of this demo. Then I've added the number, and you can see the numbers down here below. If that were a fixed line number, I could look at different platforms there. So you can see we've got support for Teams and Cisco and Zoom. But the most important thing, that number is in the system. We're now processing it. We're routing it. What are we doing? Okay? Well, what we're doing is we've uploaded it to Microsoft. Okay? We've started the prep work. What we've not done is change any configuration in the IMS core. We're not changing anything with the mobile routing, because if we do that now, we're going to break things. This is a lesson learnt, and why buying TPM today can be problematic, because you have to balance and get those processes right every single time, or you create more problems for yourself. But if I go back to my users, we're reading this out. I mentioned user management earlier. I can come in here. I can edit my number. I can give myself that one at the bottom and save it. Now, at this point, the number was already uploaded to Microsoft on the previous. Now we're enabling that number at the user level. And once we get feedback that number has been assigned to a user, then we'll do the IMS core config. So downstream from that, we're going to do everything we need to. Eventually, I'll have a debate about whether that is yellow or light green with anyone in the room. I still think it's yellow. But while that does that, I'm going to show you this very quickly. I'm using a softphone client as an example here to mimic my mobile phone against our demo IMS. Let's see if the number has finished adding. If I just refresh here, I go to calls. Perfect. I've got a dial pad. Didn't have that before. That happened when I did the enablement. If I call this number, and
thank you for calling Cavell. Your call is important to us. Please press 1.
So that has enabled through there. We can place the call. That is a TPM enabled call, spun up from the very beginning. Momentarily, the call history should arrive there as well. And if I come back here, if I wanted to, I'm going to see if my other number, again, has been finished provisioning at this point. If I come in here, yep, that's the other number we activated there. You may have seen when I initially did the implementation, it wasn't showing because we're processing in the back end. So that's TPM turned up from the off. Again, I've been on that side of this stage, and I've seen a TPM demo done by Dan and team maybe 18 months ago. There was some murmurs at the time that was very cloak and daggers, smoke and mirrors, wasn't real. Okay? I was aware of what was going on in the prep work for that. I know that one was real. I know this one is real. If anyone has any doubts, come see us. You can see it. I'll let you drive it if you want to. You can do anything you want. Okay? Not a problem. But the last thing I'm going to end on here is just the toll ring integration. So I mentioned we've already spun up. We've enabled TPM. We've enabled a user for it. We've successfully made calls. If I go to services now and I want to procure another service, something like Analytics 365 CX from Tollring. Again, the guys at Tollring have done all the development for this for us. All I need to do is put my admin email in, what region I want to be deployed in, and I'll pick, why not say Hawaii, and let's add that. What we do, we add the service into here. The work that Tollring have done picks up that notification from the engine, processes the order on their side, and will start to give us all information. So we can see we're in a provisioning state right here. In a few seconds, that will move into access required, because what they're going to do is create a new Tollring service on their end and then send me the notification. There we go, grant access. So if I need to, I can grant permissions from here. It will come out, and again, I said at the top of the call, I'm not going to do a full Tollring demo for you because I won't do it justice, and the guys are right next to us at our stand. But we can drive absolutely everything out of here. If I come to my mail, and we can see I've got my welcome email. So again, let's just quickly recap what we did there once more. Okay, we associated a mobile account for TPM. We validated that it was active for it. We made myself prove that I own the account. We activated it for TPM, uploading it to Microsoft. We assigned it to a user. We enabled the routing change on the IMS, and we've enabled Analytics 365 through Service Hub. And that took, okay, I'm 4 minutes over, so that probably took 7 minutes, apologies. But that's the power of TCAP. That's what we look to set out to achieve, and really extend all of that to our partner community. Now, with that said, I'm going to wrap up now. I'm going to bring Ian onto the stage. who is going to explain what these fluffy things are that have traveled the world recently and what we're trying to do.
Dan had a great idea that we're going to have PingCo koalas as our brand ambassador, and we'd like lots of people to adopt them, take them around the world with them, take photos, and we're going to put them on social media. And there's a very complex AI-driven algorithm, which is distance, novelty, location, what else? I can't remember what else there is. But so I thought I was going to do something like everyone stand up and whatever, but that's too complicated. Is it anyone's birthday today? No. Is it anyone's birthday yesterday, apart from Brandon, and is he in the room? Okay, so Rick, I'm going to give you that one for Brandon, and I'll give you that one. There you go. So you need to scan on the back, register the QR code, and you're away to go. I forgot the most important thing. So the prize is part of $10,000 worth of holiday vouchers. So 5 people are going to win prizes, which is contribution.
And everyone has aged a lot therein.
Michael Maxwini, yes. So okay, quickly, anyone's birthday on Christmas Day? Yeah? Brett, where's your passport? New Year's Day.
28 December.
We'll come back to that. Boxing Day, April Fool's Day, Valentine's Day,
29th of February.
When's your son's birthday?
My son is Christmas Day.
There you go. You can take that. Perfect. There you go.
Good.